What up, fam? So glad you are tuning into our YouTube channel. Just one announcement. Middle schoolers, this is your last week to turn in your forms for Fall Blast. It's going to be awesome. We're going to be going to Sky Zone and then staying some time in a cabin in the woods with our own pond and awesome of activities. It's $60 your waivers, and forms are due next week, so make sure you are doing that. It's going to be awesome. We would love to have you there. We are in our series of what to do when you don't know what to do, week number 3. So
when you don't know how to do something, how to fix something, or how something works, what do? Ask a teacher? Ask your parents? Ask your friends? Ask someone you really know and trust? No, you go to the internet and ask some randos. But I'm not talking about creeps here, I hope. No, I mean the people of the internet! You know, those people who make how-to videos. Because chances are, if you're trying to figure out something, someone on the internet has already figured it out for you. Things like, how do I unsend a text? No. How do I do a winged eyeliner? How do I get rid of the zit by Friday night? How do I get out of gym class? How do I screen cap Snapchat without getting caught? They'll never know. But then there are things in life that don't have an easy fix, that don't have a simple solution, that don't have a how-to video. Things like what to do when you have problems with family, or when it seems like you have no control in your life, or what to do when someone has done something to you. I mean, clearly, they gotta go. The truth is, there's a lot of life that doesn't have a solution you can just find online. So how do you know what to do when you don't know what to do?
the other day I was at the gas station and I was getting some stuff that I needed, some ding dong, some Doritos, some things for a road trip. It was all great things. And by road trip, I mean just on my way home. And as I was there, I noticed a $20 bill on the ground. So feel free to judge me, but this is all that transpired in my head. So I could just ignore it, leave it, not my problem, then it's not a big deal. I could pick it up and then just keep it. I could pick it up and give it to the manager, or I could pick it up and ask if it was someone's. But all of these things, which one is the right one? Some of you think that it's the right one to just pick it up, take it to someone, pick it up and bring it on. Some of you are just like, don't worry about it, it's not my problem, I'll just walk away. And others of you are like, oh, I'm picking it up and I'm taking it with me. So here's what I'm getting at. Knowing what to do isn't simple in the moment. And that's what we're going to be looking at in this series, what to do when you don't know what to do. And today we're looking at the dilemma of what to do when you don't know what is right and what is wrong. Because we've all had those situations where we don't exactly know what is the right thing to do, but we don't exactly know what the wrong thing to do is. So what do we do in those moments? So it'd be nice to know if doing the right thing was always clear and obvious. Like, I wish that would just be clear, black and white, like, this is right, do it. Okay, because sometimes the right thing isn't obvious. If you're dating someone and you're texting somebody else a lot, and you're like, well, I'm not cheating on them because I'm not doing anything other than just texting them, that's not wrong, right? Or is it? Or if your teammate's going on about how the coach just put them on the bench because they were just for no apparent reason, but it's because they're just really not that good. Are you going to tell them that, or are you just going to let them keep talking bad about the coach? Or if you have a friend who's doing something that really bothers you, and you don't know if you should talk to them about it or not, and you're wondering, if I confront them, am I just going to look like a jerk? This is my issue, or is it their issue? Should I just get over it? All of these questions are things that you probably have thought about. So what is the right thing in these situations? Or sometimes the right thing costs us something. Once I decided to return that $20 bill to the customer service desk, you know what that cost me? Specifically $20. But on top of that, I had to spend time to go back to take it there, and it cost me $20. So maybe you know the right thing is to be honest with your parents. But if you're honest with them, you know that you're going to lose your phone for a while. Or you know the right thing isn't to be in the relationship anymore, that you're the person you're dating. But if you break up with them, then you'll be single and alone. You know, the right thing isn't to let somebody cheat off your test, but if you say no to them, then you feel like a loser or someone that is too goody-goody. You know, the right thing to do is to decline when someone offers you a drink, but it seems like everybody else is drinking and they have fun. Why can't you? So saying no will make so you don't have a good time and that you're not able to have a story on Monday. So you see what I mean? Sometimes when we do the right thing, it costs us something. And even though it's right, it still has a negative cost sometimes to us. So with that in mind, let's pick up in the story of Joseph. We're talking about Joseph. He was an important guy in Genesis, and he's one of the most famous guys in Genesis, and he had an insane story, right? Dumpster fire situation, turned into slavery, and that's where we're picking up, okay? So we left off last week with Joseph. He was sold into slavery, and we pick up this week with what happened after he was sold into slavery. So we're told Joseph was given to work in the house of the officer of Pharaoh. If you don't know what a pharaoh is, the pharaoh is basically like a king, the president, and the emperor, like all mixed into one. So whatever Pharaoh said, consider it done because it was happening, no questions asked. So you can imagine what it was like to work with one of Pharaoh's officers and the high stress that had to be. But like we mentioned last week, the author was quick to point out that God was with Joseph and that he had favor with the official whose name was Potiphar. So that means that Potiphar was a fan of Joseph's, and so that's where we're going to pick up the story. So we're in Genesis 39. The Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered, and he lived in the house of his Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favor in his eyes, and became his attendant. Potiphar put him in charge of this household, and he entrusted to his care everything he owned. From the time he put him in charge of his household and all that he owned, the Lord blessed the household of the Egyptian because of Joseph. The blessing of the Lord was on everything Potiphar had, both in the house and in the field. So Potiphar left everything he had in Joseph's care, and Joseph in charge. He did not concern himself with anything except the food he ate. So things weren't really bad for Joseph because Potiphar trusted him. And things weren't bad for Potiphar because Joseph was in charge of anything, and that meant that God blessed it and he was thriving. But then things take a weird turn. So now Joseph, he was well built and handsome. In Genesis 39 it says this. And after a while his master's wife took notice of Joseph and said, "Come to bed with me." So this verse tells us two things. One, apparently Joseph wasn't a bad looking guy. Apparently he was good looking. Don't know what that meant, but he was good looking. And second, Potiphar's wife noticed that Joseph was good looking. Awkward. So now this is where things get complicated because Joseph, he was a servant. He was required to obey only Potiphar, and that also meant to obey Potiphar's wife. So he was supposed to obey Potiphar's wife and go to bed with her, but also she's married to Joseph's boss. So what are you supposed to do? He could get kicked out of the household because he slept with his boss's wife. Both options, they came with a problem, and it wasn't easy or clear of what to do. So what did Joseph do when he didn't know what to do? Listen to this next part of the story in Genesis 39. But he refused. With me in charge, he told her, "My master does not concern himself with anything in the house. Everything he owns, he has entrusted to my care. No one is greater in this house than I am. My master has withheld nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God?" And though she spoke to Joseph day after day, he refused to go to bed with her or even be with her. Now I noticed that he didn't just not go to bed with her. He actually he tried to separate himself from her at all costs. So basically, out of respect for Potiphar and out of even bigger respect for God, Joseph simply did the next right thing. Joseph didn't make a decision on how things would turn out for him, like losing his job or losing his even life. He made a decision based on what was right. And what was right in that moment was turning down Potiphar's wife. It was complicated, it was challenging, but it was the right thing to do. And it wasn't exactly like his life was perfect as a result of making this choice. In fact, things got a lot worse. As if Joseph's life could get worse, Potiphar's wife falsely accused Joseph of raping her. So because of that, Potiphar believed his wife and had Joseph thrown into prison. So now Joseph was a slave, had some things going for him, and then it was all taken away and he was thrown into prison. And that's not exactly the happy story or happy ending you were hoping for, doing the next right thing. But Joseph didn't make the decision based on what it meant for his life. He did what was right with God and trusted God with the outcome. The outcome for Joseph's life and in that situation wasn't great. But there's a word I want to talk about, and I want you to know it, and it's doing what's right dilemma, right? That's what we're talking about, and it's called integrity. Maybe you've heard it, but integrity means being the kind of person who does the right thing, regardless of the outcome and regardless of who is around. So sometimes doing the right thing will get you applause, and sometimes it won't. Sometimes doing the right thing will cost you something, and sometimes it won't. Sometimes doing the right thing will make you look good, and sometimes it will make you look stupid. But we don't get to decide how things turn out. But we get to decide what kind of person we want to be. And being a person of integrity will lead us to a life with less regret and more respect, and a better idea of what to do in every situation. So chances are we'll never find ourselves in the situation Joseph found himself in. But we will find ourselves in all kinds of situations that raise the question of what we should do when we don't know what to do. But when we make our decisions with integrity based on what is right, we're living lives that we can be proud of no matter what the outcome is. So here's the thing we can remember. When you don't know what to do the next right thing. Think of a situation where you know the right thing to do, but you're afraid to do it. What are you afraid of? If fear wasn't a factor, what would you do? Or determine what kind of person you want to be. When you're thinking of what you don't know what to do the next right thing, determine what kind of person you want to be. I'm not talking 5 years from now or when you're going to be 80 years old. What kind of person do you want to be right now, this week? What do you need to do today that will set you up to be the kind of person who respects themselves and can be proud of their decisions? And it's not because they're easy, but because they were right. Here's the deal. Most of us know the right thing to do. Most of us know what we should do and what's expected from us. But fear keeps us from acting on it and acting how we should act. More than that, fear keeps us from being who we want to be right now. That's why learning to live with integrity is crucial for you, and living a way on the outside that matches what we think and believe inside. We need to have it, and it's living a life of integrity. But that doesn't always make it easy. So the next 2 steps we created for you, have this in mind. Tell somebody the next right thing you're going to do. Don't just have a conversation with yourself. Tell someone, this is the situation, and this is the next right thing, and I'm going to do it. And invite them to pray for you and then ask you this week if you did it. That's how we live lives of integrity. Not by ourselves. We have to do it with others, because knowing the next right thing and then doing the next right thing. We have to know it and then do it. We can't just know it. And inviting someone else to come alongside us, doing the next right thing, doesn't have to be a lonely venture. It can be a venture that you have with your brothers and sisters in Christ. And there is a strength that shows up when you allow someone to show up with you. So I want you to think about this. Think exactly what you need to do. What situation in your life is happening, and what is the next right thing to do. You don't have to do it alone. Reach out to someone. And you can tap into the help that God offers us, Because when you don't know what to do the next right thing.